You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Trading Hour. This is a Tuesday morning. The markets are down and out. There's about a 55-odd point cut. 10,906 is where we're at. And I think in many ways, in more ways than one, the indication that maybe all is not well with the market was very evident yesterday itself. The Nifty ended up 40 points yesterday, but it was led by just a few stocks. Reliance, Infosys, the Bajaj Finance, Finserv twins. And I mean, you struggle to go beyond that top 5 or 6 names to find strength anywhere else. The breadth of the market was very clearly and squarely in the negative. Declines were far outnumbered advances and that kind of thing. So it was, I mean, a bunch of names, a big boost coming in from RIL, which is missing today. And you got the market slipping a little bit. 10,909 is where we are at. The mid-cap index is down 0.7%. The small-cap index is down 0.6%. The bank Nifty is down about 0.25%. And there's a 0.5% cut on the Nifty. Lots of stocks are moving around, and we will touch base on many of them over the next 60 minutes. I am Prashant Nair. With me, my colleague Ekta Batra. Hi, Ekta.
Hi, Prashant. Yes, absolutely. Well, the stock-specific run continues for the markets, and who can stop talking about the kind of moves that we're seeing for Kotak Mahindra Bank? So that stock is up around 2% post numbers yesterday, post the analyst call, and we have Sun Pharma, which is in fact rallied all the way to levels of close to around 420. So that stock is up around 5%. We have Just Dial as well, which is reacting to numbers. And the likes of Asian Paints, TVS Motors, which will be releasing their Q3 performance today. So we will be watching out for, in fact, Asian Paints, which is expected to come in with a domestic volume growth of around 13 to 14%. So that would be watched quite closely. But nonetheless, we have Sudarshan Sakani joining in now to tell us what he's tracking within the technicals of the market. Sudarshan, hi, morning, over to you. Nifty as well as stocks, what would your recommendation be?
Yeah, good morning. Well, the Nifty is doing nothing. Prashant just explained that. But it's not falling. 50 points of a decline after a rally is normal and expected, given the fact that world markets are also a little subdued. But the trend remains up. So far as the trend is up and 10,850 is being held properly on a closing basis, I think we have to remain long. Now today, for those who are not long, there's no rush to buy. Let the markets fall, let them stabilize, and then it is worth buying at lower levels. So the trade is still to buy, but if you don't have a position, there's no rush. Individually, stocks are all over the place. It's a choppy day, and choppy days are difficult to trade, but some selected stocks will do their own thing. I have 2 buying ideas. One is Divi's Lab. Divi's Lab is part of the pharma pack, which is doing well, thanks largely to Sun Pharma and a little bit to Dr. Reddy's. So Divi's Lab is a buying opportunity. In fact, the entire sector is a buying opportunity for the day. The second is Mindtree. These 2 defensive plays come into picture when the markets become choppy, IT and pharma, and that's happening today. So Mindtree is also a buying opportunity. After that big decline, Mindtree has built a small base and is now rallying. So there are 2 buys from the 2 most appropriate sectors, pharma and IT, Mindtree and Divi's Lab. And JSW Steel is a short sell. I am downbeat on metals, and that theme continues on the lower side, on the downside. So 3 trades from mid caps.
Okay, fair enough. Sudarshan, we'll come back to you, and we'll get more updates and trades as we go along. Appreciate you joining us, Sudarshan, with those ideas. The big one, of course, is Sun Pharma, both in terms of news flow and in terms of what the stock is doing. The stock was at 400 rupees same time yesterday, and it's moved up to about 418, 419 now. We reported yesterday, around the same time actually, a little later, that Sun Pharma was unwinding a lot of the structures, was going to unwind a lot of structures which were the center of controversy, Aditya Medisales, etc., which had led to a lot of the issues and questions about corporate governance, etc. And it seems that the company is already acting. How significant, and I mean, first the facts, Ekta, and what would this mean?
Yes, in fact, we were talking about this same time yesterday, Prashant, that, Sun Pharma is likely to do this. And they have come out with a press release this morning. So they have mentioned clarifications on Aditya Medisales, which is basically the domestic distribution arm of Sun Pharma. Going forward, Aditya Medisales is going to be transitioned into a wholly owned subsidiary of Sun. And that is going to be effective Q1 FY20 onwards. They've also given given clarifications on the loans and advances which were given to Atlas Global Trading. So they have said that it will be settled. Remember that the loans amounted to around 2,238 odd crores, $345 million. This was assuming, this was basically on the damages on account of the Protonix patent litigation which had taken place all the way back in 2013. The transaction is expected to be concluded in FY19 itself. The company also said that they've not affirmatively given any sort of loans or guarantees to Suraksha Realty, so they've clarified on that. And they've initiated steps to induct a new auditor for their subsidiaries of the company. So the current auditor is Valia and Timbadia, and that's going to be replaced with SRBC and Company LLP. Now, while these clarifications are important for Sun Pharma and it's been taken well by the street, there are some questions which still remain. So, for example, any consideration that will be paid to Aditya Medisales for the transfer of the business to Sun Pharma's wholly owned subsidiary, any more details on what exactly Atlas Global Trading is, and the kind of relationship that both those companies share, and any such transactions that one should be aware of going forward. So these are a couple of key points one needs to keep in mind along with the clarifications. In fact, let's get in some opinion now. We have Nimish Mehta of Delta Advisors joining in, and we have Sriram Subramaniam of InGovern to talk about the Sun Pharma developments. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Nimish, let me come to you first. Are you satisfied with these kind of clarifications from the company? Hi, Nimish.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Nimish.
Yeah, sorry. Can you repeat the question? It was not very audible.
Are you satisfied with the Sun Pharma clarifications?
To some extent, yes. So, first of all, on the Aditya Medisales, I think it was it's just unwinding of a distribution arm that they had. So, I guess it's a simple transaction. They have just closed on Aditya Medisales as its distributor, and it is transferred to a wholly owned subsidiary. So, whatever questions related to corporate governance because of Aditya Medisales being between company Sun Pharma as well as, let's say, any other private company of the promoters is no more. So that, I think, is simple and clear. The other part, the Atlas trading company part, which is where they have given a loan, is, has something that needs furthermore clarification. So what we understand is that Atlas had actually helped them bear some of the damages related to their Protonix. Yeah, and that was in lieu of Atlas getting supply of certain drugs which are in at a certain discount to Atlas. But because of the halal situation, they actually could not fulfill those obligations, and there were supply disruptions. They, against which Atlas again needed to be compensated. So there was probably a fresh loan that was given to them till the time the obligations are settled. Now, what I understand from the press release is that loans and that Atlas has given up on their obligations in favor of Sun Pharma subsidiary. So the question is that will Atlas be getting anything in lieu of that, because ultimately they have to be compensated for the Protonix damaged dairy that they had agreed earlier.
Okay, so
that is something that is not very good.
Okay, so you would probably want more clarifications with these loans and advances given to Atlas Global. Sriram, what about you? Come in on this. Any sort of question marks which have risen in your mind post the press release?
Yes and no. See, the damage is already done. Firstly, why did the company take so long to react? Even when in the December whistleblower came up, the company did not react in a very proactive manner, and the investor call was fairly wishy-washy, and they did not come out with such definitive statements. And secondly, even when this second whistleblower letter came up, they blamed the media house, they blamed the whistleblower, etc., rather than address the investor concern, which is what investors are worried about. And the fact is now that these statements really say that there was something amiss. I mean, and investors are now wondering what else is wrong. For example, one of the things that a large part of the revenues was audited by Valia and Timbadia was known to people, but why is a chartered accountant in which one of the co-founders or founders of Sun Pharma or promoters of Sun Pharma is involved, auditing a part of it. That is corporate governance 101 for that matter. Right? I mean, you don't have...
Sriram, that point is taken. That point is taken. Everyone knows these concerns and they are well documented. But do you think that these kind of steps that they've taken are enough to assuage concerns at this point? That this might just be a start for them?
Maybe the current allegations or the current issues that have been raised may be addressed to some extent. If hopefully they don't... they are addressed in the time frame that the company is putting out. But investors are left wondering as to what else is amiss. And at the end of the day, the reputation is lost. So investors who pay a premium for corporate governance would definitely stay away from Sun Pharma for a while.
So Sriram, you're saying that essentially you're saying investors pay P multiples for the assumption that all will be kosher always, and all the highest standards of corporate governance will be followed, and not pay multiples to for when corrections will be made from deviations like what's happening right now. So in that sense, I mean, the cloud will continue to linger.
Yeah, the cloud will continue to linger because unless the company hasn't proactively on its own ensured good corporate governance, it had to take 2 whistleblower reports to take up these steps. And now investors will still be wondering what else is amiss. And these are just the issues that a whistleblower has raised. So we don't know what other issues which whistleblower has not raised are still out there.
Sure. Nimish, what are you tracking in terms of, say, the client questions that you're fielding at this point in time? Can you just provide some color in terms of what your clients are asking you mainly on Sun, and if you have a rating, what would it be?
So I think, the major issue or the major question that every client has in its mind is whether the reputation of the company, and which is actually reflected in the P multiple, will be gotten back or not. So that's actually a question that everybody has in mind. Now, what I also understand that nobody actually is really worried about any fund cycling or anything of that issue from Sun Pharma. So to that extent, it is not very clear as to what is likely to happen for the multiple, of Sun Pharma's multiple, which they actually had enjoyed a significant premium to its peers for a very long time. So that's, I think, the key question that every client or every investor, whosoever is looking at Sun Pharma, is worried about. Again, rating I won't go, but all I can understand is that the real issues of corporate governance is about, to my mind, are two things: that whether the numbers reflected are right, or does it give a true picture, and or whether there is any fund which is being cycled away from the company or from the listed company to anything else, to any other vested interest. So these are the two cornerstones of any corporate governance. So to some extent, to a great extent, I would say, this clarification has actually addressed both. So in a way, when the management has mentioned in the call that this is a pharma transaction, the one that we are talking about, the loans and advance we are talking about, it is clearly a pharma transaction. It is related to the business. It's clearly related to the business. It is also mentioned very upfront that there is no transaction with Suraksha Realty, between Sun Pharma and them. And Aditya Medi Sales is now actually no more a distributor. So to that extent, whatever feeling anybody would have is in a way kind of addressed to some extent, as I said.
Okay.
But perceptions are perceptions. So yeah, you have to deal with P multiple question.
Okay, that point is taken. Sriram, would you want more clarity on what this Atlas Global Trading is about? Though it is a pharmaceutical related company or a transaction, as the company mentioned, as Sun Pharma had mentioned, would you want more details in terms of what the company does, what the past transactions are? Is that something that would be of interest?
Definitely. You see, one doesn't know what is the relationship of Sun Pharma to Atlas Global Trading, because at the end of the day, they didn't, this press release didn't put out as to what is the nature of the entity, whether it's a contract manufacturing facility or whether one of the promoters has any relationship, or why not even take it from some third-party large manufacturer. So why did they go to some unheard-of name? So that is not clear. And two, coming back to Suraksha Realty and Lakshadweep, see, even in the press conference of investor call of December, they had put out that the Lakshadweep investment is categorized as a non-promoter because of historical reasons. And they did not justify as to what is the reason why it was firstly classified, while it is clearly known that one of the promoters is a promoter of Lakshadweep. And two is even Suraksha Realty. It is known that Suraksha Realty, Lakshadweep and all have investments in infrastructure, in Suzlon, and these are undergoing stress. And so that stress could have a knock-on effect on Sun Pharma and the promoters itself. And so if you see, there is a media report today saying that some of the shares of Sun Pharma have indirectly been pledged by Suraksha Realty, which is a holding company. And that is not disclosed because anyway, pledge of shares doesn't of the holding company don't need to be disclosed. But the imputed value is derived from the value of the shares of Sun Pharma itself.
Got it. Thanks very much, Sriram and Nimesh. Appreciate both of you joining us. So some consolation, but I think both Nimesh and Sriram very clearly pointing out that while some steps have been taken to undo the damage, perception issues will linger, as Nimish pointed out, and as Sriram very clearly and strongly put forth, investors would be hesitant to pay high PE multiples for Sun, even after the steps that Sun has taken yesterday. Okay, so that is Sun Pharma in focus. Stock is bouncing a little bit after the strong correction, the sharp correction that we saw earlier on. We are going to take our first break here on the show. The market, by the way, is down 70 points. So we are, I think, back at almost the day's lowest level. Yes, we are. 10,888 is the low, and we're almost there. Sharp dip once again coming through. We come back, we get you what's happening in stocks, sectors. We also discuss the commodities complex. Manisha Gupta will be coming in, and she'll be joined by Reza Amanat of Argus Media on the other side.